Well, I
if I
don't
turned
know.
it.
Is it in front of you and away from your mic?
It's just to the left of me, pointing this way. If I turned it to like bounce the stream off of the wall, do you think it would help?
Can you put it right in front of you so it's not hitting
I
your
can
mic?
I can hold it in my lap.
It's too much. It's too much. Look, if you're going to be a fan of this podcast, you're going to have to deal with a fan of the guy who's not a fan.
Yep.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
All right. You ready for this shit? This is. I wish that was a beer. This is episode 245.
I had a church music at lunch.
Oh, I had a Boom Dynamite at lunch.
Look, that's luckier.
Yeah, church music's not bad though.
It's fine.
Yeah, this is episode 245 of The Illustrious Gentleman. That's Scott. I'm Ryan. We're comic book professionals? Question mark? But we also do a podcast. So we're podcast professionals? Question mark?
Oh, that's on my end.
Yeah, someone's sawing metal.
Yeah, my neighbor's getting his roof retiled.
No. Always an adventure here on The Illustrious Gentleman. There's two of us.
It's loud.
Yeah. It's just creating the world that we're living in right now, setting the environment. So you're drinking a Bublé. I'm drinking the alcoholic equivalent of a Bublé. Oh, ice caffeine. So it's a water with caffeine?
Yeah, it's juicy orange passion fruit.
I'm having the equivalent of that. I'm having a white wine spritzer. Whatever the cheapest white wine you can find. Any white wine will do. So there we are. Here we are. Let me pull up my notes here. Although I kind of think maybe we should just get into this in case it runs long, and then we can do any small talk afterwards. Sure. You cool with that?
Sure.
Because you never know. Some of these names that we're going to be bringing up might set us off. Hashtag set us off.
Set us off.
Yeah, and then we might be fighting. Mommy and Daddy might be fighting. By the end of this podcast. Who knows? So, what we're doing today then,
is that a trigger warning?
Yeah. I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Go on.
Fantastic. I've already lost it. So today it's the time of brackets. Playoffs are starting. Some playoffs are ending. I think it's over, right? March Madness?
March Madness is over. Yeah, so we missed that.
Coach K is on his way with an L.
It's a lot louder in my headphones than it is in my physical ears.
Well, it's pretty loud. Nothing can be done about it. I mean, I can't believe your neighbor didn't. I'm sure you sent him a notice. Hey, I'm podcasting today.
I go around the neighborhood and I put flyers on everybody's door, letting them know when I'm going to be doing this.
Yeah, quiet time.
That's right.
Yeah. Ooh, there's a cricket, too, to go along with everything else.
Fantastic.
Welcome to the last episode of The Illustrious Gentleman. Today, as part of the bracketology month, I'm in a mood for a bracket. I love me a good bracket. I'm all about the brackets. Today, I decided let's look at some Wizard magazines of the past and look at their top 10 artists.
Mm-hmm.
And then see if we can find a definitive winner. But because a top 10 is not good enough for this podcast, we're doing a Sweet 16. So what I did was I pulled 10 magazines that I could find online. I think they ranged from like 92 to 97, so kind of the middle swath of the 90s. I'm not quite 100% sure. I think the first image I took might have been from like a Wizard in the 20, the number like 28 or something.
Could be 94, could be 2003.
And then the last one I pulled from was like 72, 78. So it's like a 5-year gap is what we're working with here for Wizard, the guide to the Guide to Comics. Is that what it was called? Wizard : The Guide to Comics.
Yeah, then it was the comics magazine after that, right?
Okay. So what I did was I pulled 10 lists.
And then it was canceled.
And then I marked down. Well, we're all going to be canceled. I marked down how many times names showed up on a list, and I got 16 names.
Okay.
All right. There were some ties in there, obviously, and so I just went with personal bias to seed because I wanted a 1 through 16 seed. So there were some biases in there, but I kind of rolled them in. I took care of it.
That's what this show's all about.
Don't you worry about it. So 2 names were on every top 10 list. Not necessarily at number 1. We're not playing that game. But 2 names showed up in every list that I pulled. Do you want to make a guess of who those 2 names were?
Jim Lee.
Uh-huh.
Todd McFarlane?
Yes. So our number 1 seed is Todd McFarlane coming out of California or Canada somewhere.
Canada.
Toddy Mac, number 1 seed, coming in tied on points, but it dropped to the number 2 seed because I think Todd was ranked higher in most of the ones I looked at. Unbelievably, is Jim Lee. Number 3, Joe Quesada, a darling of Wizard Mag. You got to keep in mind, some of these dudes are Wizard Magazine darlings. We're going to come to a couple of those. So number 3 seed, Joey Q. Number 4 seed, J. Scott Campbell, the guy with 3 first names.
Okay.
Number 5 seed, Mark Silvestri.
Uh-huh.
The best of the best. Number 6 seed, Andy Kubert.
Oh, wow.
Number 7 seed, Joe Madureira. Number 8 seed, Greg Capullo. Or Capullo. I don't know. Number 9 seed, Adam Kubert.
I would have guessed they would have been flip-flopped.
That's what you get. You don't know. Andy Kubert showed up 6 times. Adam Kubert showed up 5 times. Also showing up 5 times, but number 2 in my heart, Bart Sears. I think we can all guess how Bart Sears got on this list. Not that Bart Sears isn't great. I mean, I learned a lot from Bart Sears on the drawing board.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Greg Nordstrom. But...
Number 11.
Or Craig J.C. Penney.
Number 11, Robert Liefeld, coming in at one of the low spots at number 11. Unbelievably. He took a hiatus, though, if you remember, between Youngblood 3
it's a dark
or
horse.
Youngblood 6. Yeah. He took a little sabbatical, so he came in a little late at number 11 seed. Number 12th seed, we got a painter. We got Alex Ross, guy who paints. Number 13 seed, Chris.
Very specific moment in time.
That's right. Number 13, Chris Bocciolo. I'm told it's pronounced Bocciolo, not Bacalo. Chris Bocciolo at number 13. Number 14, Sam Keith.
Ooh.
Pulling it way out the bottom of the shoebox in the closet. Sam Keith, number 14. Number 15, Dale Keown. Heavy metal rocker, Dale Keown himself. Pitmaster. The best barbecuer we've ever had on this podcast.
Another Dale Canadian.
That's right. Dale Keown on number 15. And number 16, rounding out the field, Carlos Pacheco. Riding high on Avengers Forever,
I was going to say.
Point. Yes. So what we're going to do is I bracketed these dudes in a Sweet 16 style bracket. We're going to break it down, and we're going to find our perfect Wizard Magazine top artist of the 90s, at least using the criteria of 10 random polls that I chose. But I have a question for you. Should we judge these based on how we feel about these people now or how we felt about them in 1997?
I don't know. I mean, as my memory being as shit as it is, I can really only go with what I feel now.
Okay. All right.
What do you think would be most fun?
Well, why don't we play it? Why don't we go off of it as we hit each matchup? We'll talk about it, like how we think they would favor. So let's start with the number 1 versus the number 16. It's just Toddy McFarlane against Carlos Pacheco. It's funny because, and by the way, all of these artists are way better than me. So we're not going to talk smack about any of these guys because I'll never make a Wizard top 10 list of anything. So I'm not talking shit about anything. I loved Carlos Pacheco's Avengers Forever and his X-Men stuff. I was a huge fan of Carlos at that time.
Yes, I know him from his Flash run,
I didn't even know he
which
had
I
a Flash
enjoyed
run.
very much.
All right, well, he's up against the juggernaut, Todd McFarlane.
You know, maybe I'm
Todd,
wrong. Maybe Carlos didn't have a run on the Flash. Or you know what? Fuck, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not.
Maybe he did. I think I'm getting him confused with Oscar Jimenez.
Two very different artists.
Huh.
I don't know.
I
But
don't
Todd,
know. I'm all confused now.
I always liked Todd with the energy he brought and the excitement he brought to comics. But when I think about the Spawn comics, I don't really. They don't hold any. I don't have any affinity for them for how they were drawn. Like Todd's pencils and ink work doesn't do that much for me. Maybe the Torment stuff, the first 4 issues of the adjectiveless Spider-Man book that he did, I thought he was really going nuts with the artwork. I don't know much about the story. I'm not going to comment on that, but I thought that might have been some of his peak artwork. He was just going ape shit. But this is a tough one because at a different time in my life, I like both of these dudes.
Yeah, I think I have to go Todd just because Spawn was such a big part of my life for like 4 years.
I think I have to agree just based on overall wealth of position in the industry. But I will say it wasn't a slam dunk.
No, I quite like Carlos. And I think today, if I were going to pick up a book based on those two options as artists, I would probably pick up Carlos's book.
All right, so we got to say goodbye to Mr. Pacheco. All right, next matchup then is the 2 against the 15th seed. Jim Lee, former medical student, damn near doctor, current co-publisher, or maybe former co-publisher of DC Comics. Jimmy Lee against Dale Keown, who I loved his Incredible Hulk, and I enjoyed Pitt, but I really liked his Incredible Hulk run. I like Smart Hulk. I'm a fan of Smart Hulk, so he did a run with Smart Hulk, which I was a fan of.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, to me, it's a slam dunk. This is a tough field.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about this one. Jim just moves on.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have any feelings about Dale's stuff other than it was always pretty when I saw it, but I never sought it out.
Yeah, he might be, not that I collect a lot of Hulk comics, he might be my favorite Hulk artist. Again, that could have been just a time of Hulk when he was like smart Banner Hulk. It
feels kind of strange because he fills that art niche of drawing these giant muscular things. He does like super hardcore anatomy and his pencil shading and shit. But despite these like gargantuan things that he was drawing, they always felt so soft.
All right. Not hard enough for you.
Not hard enough.
Yeah. All right, Jim Lee moves on. So top 2 seeds move on pretty easy. You know, it's like playing South Dakota State, at Billings, which I realize is in Montana. It's like one of those schools. Number 3 against number 14. I think another slam dunk, but we'll go through the motions. Joe Quesada against Sam Keith.
I don't know, man.
Are you kidding me? I just had this conversation at lunch. I appreciate what Sam Keith does, but I've personally never found it super appealing, even though I do own lots of Max Comics and Marvel Comics Presents that he did and shit like that.
I think I would rather sit down and read a Sam Keith book than a Joe Q book. I can get the stuff that Joe does in other places. I can't get that with Sam Keith stuff.
Oh, wow. I did not anticipate how we're going to break ties. Should we Rochambeau?
Flip a coin or guess a number.
I don't have a coin. Let's rock paper scissors it. Let's rock paper scissors it for an audio medium. You ready?
Ready, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Awesome.
Again.
Yeah. Ready. Just count and go.
Go.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, rock beat scissors. Unbelievably.
Sam Keith
advances.
moves on.
Wow. At some point, we're going to have a show where I ask you, who gives you what Quesada could give you? That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on. Number 4. This matchup is tough. Real tough. J. Scott Campbell, the guy with 3 first names.
Well,
against
no.
Campbell Scott. That's an actor. That's a first name.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it's an actor's name, it's not a real name.
Chris Bocciolo.
Okay.
If we're going off back in the day, I love both these dudes back in the day. Back in the day, BITD, I would have easily chosen J. Scott Campbell. Mm-hmm. But now I'm thinking like Bocciolo he's grown and is still doing interesting, really good stuff. Whereas J. Scott Campbell does a lot of incentive covers for comics.
Yes, I think I probably have the same opinion about JSC as I do about Dale Keown. That it's pretty and it's nice. I don't know that I would ever buy a book based on that.
All right. So our second upset. So we have 2 favorites in the books and 2 upsets in the books so far. Wait, where am I doing this? Here we are. Okay. Fun stuff. Getting to the meat and potatoes now. This one almost feels like it doesn't even need to be done. But Mark Silvestri against Alex Ross is our next matchup. Wait, I lost something here. Talk to me about these 2 guys while I try to figure out what I did here.
This whole thing may not end up going the way we thought it was going to go.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
I could make the same exact argument that I made for Sam about this one.
Are you telling me you would rather pick up Marvels, an issue of Marvels, instead of Silvestri Dan
Green? Of Cyberforce?
No, X-Men. This is unbelievable. Alex Ross is pretty. Mark Silvestri is fucking top tier, god tier talent.
I can get heavily rendered superhero comics other places.
Dude, the world has been doing photorealistic painting for thousands of years.
In comics?
Why would you want a realistic depiction in comic books? That's what the fucking movies are for.
We're going to have to go again. You better fucking win this.
I better. 1, 2, 3, go. God damn. Oh, we tied again.
Yeah, do it off camera and then show.
No, then that's cheating.
No, it's not.
1, 2, 3. 3, shoot.
God damn it, man.
1,
2, 3.
3, shoot.
There you go.
Mark Silvestri moves on. Ooh, he's got a tough second round matchup. All right, up next, Andy Kubert against one Robert Liefeld. Now, if you ask me in the 90s, this is a runaway. Andy was a decent X-Men guy, but he was not Jim Lee. And that's he's a great artist. I really like his Predator stuff. He's a great Predator Batman stuff. But the problem is he followed Jim Lee on X-Men, which is just a fucking bummer of a gig to get. Maybe not back then because of royalties, but I gotta go. I gotta go with the upset here, just because of where in my heart Rob holds a piece.
I'll agree.
Ooh. Yeah, so Andy Kubert, I really like that. Have you ever seen that, the Batman Predator, like 2 or 3 issue series he did?
I have not read it or flipped through it or anything.
Very pretty. Very pretty. Which is something no one ever says about a Liefeld comic, but a Liefeld comic's got something going on.
I would make the same argument, though, that I have previously. I think Rob does something that's different enough that you can't get it anywhere else.
Okay. Next up, another slam dunk, at least I think, but who the fuck knows with you. Joe Mad against Bart Sears.
Ooh, Brutes and Babes fan.
Yeah, I don't know if I have. I think I do have his like self-published stuff when he went out on his own. He essentially made a Brutes and Babes comic. I think I have one of those, but I don't know. Oh, and he did some Eclipso. When the Eclipso crossover was happening, he drew the Eclipso series.
Sure, EXO.
Yeah, Bart Sears has got skills. Joe Mad has skill. I guess Joe Mad has a small. They both have a small sample to pull from.
It's true.
I'm gonna go with the guy who changed the game. I would go with Joe Mad here.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy. The reason anybody with a manga influence is even working these days is because Joe Mad brought that shit into X-Men. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't like Joe Mad X-Men.
You would be lying.
That's right. Okay, the last matchup of the first round. You got Greg Capullo against Adam Kubert. So Andy was a little more angular and Adam was a little more like his dad, right? Adam was the guy who did more like rounded, tighter figures, and Andy was more sharp.
I always considered Adam to be more of a cartoonist.
Okay.
Really exaggerated forms and crazy facial expressions. But give me Greg.
Yeah, I got to go with Greg here too. Greg Capullo, especially on X-Force. Remember a couple months ago we pulled all those comics out. I was just drooling over his X-Force covers. Just making a mess on my sheets about Greg Capullo's X-Force covers. All right. Moving on to our lead 8. We got Todd McFarlane. We got Mark Silvestri. We got Jim Lee. We got Rob Liefeld. We got Sam Keith against Joe Mad. We got Bacalo against Greg Capullo. So the first matchup here in the Elite 8, tough one. Todd McFarlane against Mark Silvestri. We're going to have to fucking Rochambeau again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm ride or die with Mark. I mean, I have a shirt that has his name on it. I made it.
Yeah, I never got into him.
All right, let's do it. Off screen.
Yep.
One,
two, three.
Shoot.
One, two, three.
Shoot.
Fuck.
Yay! Fuck yes. Yes. Mark Silvestri moves on to the final
well
4.
Done. Whew. Congratulations, Mark. You earned it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it was a tough fought battle. Went to overtime. That maybe double overtime. Who knows? All right, let's go to the opposite bracket on the other end. Let's go to Chris Bacalo against Greg Capullo. 2 very hard to pronounce names. Both ethnic, and I don't want to mispronounce either one because I'm white. And the opposite of ethnic. I'm not just white. I'm like opposite of whatever ethnic is.
Anti-ethnic?
Yeah. No, I'm not anti-ethnic. I love ethnic people.
Right.
Yes.
Inverse.
All right. So let's start breaking these down when they get tough like this. Who do you think has the better overall body of work for our personal tastes? Again, we're not everybody. For our personal tastes, I think I got to go with. I mean, Chris has been on Spider-Man, Generation X, X-Men.
Yeah, he has a diverse body. When
Yes.
when Greg takes something, he's more of a commitment man.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't House of Pain it. He doesn't jump around that much. But this is tough because this is tough. Both these guys are so good. Still putting out. These might be the guys on this entire list of 16 names that are still consistently putting out really good work right now. Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna have to go with Chris Bacalo.
Agreed.
Tough one though. But yeah, I guess like I would see like who would I check out their work now? You know, like I haven't read a lot of Greg's DC work, just because I'm not that big of a. I don't know. I just haven't. That was a tough one. All right, going up to our opposite corner, we have our number 2 seed against our number. Where is Rob? 2 against 11, but it is Jim Lee against Rob Liefeld. Which I think the answer is obvious, but I just still want to, I want to wear my Liefeld jersey, as much as possible. But Jim Lee is the guy to advance, right? I mean,
yeah. Right now,
blowout.
Jim's got a chip on his shoulder for not being the 1 seed.
That's right. Yeah, this is a fucking blowout. This game was over in the first quarter. The Jim Lees put up like 42 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Rob's fun to watch, but
yeah, Rob's got that dude on his team that can do like super sweet dunks, but Jim Lee's fundamentals, his team is they're just draining threes.
Yeah,
left and right.
They're the Spurs.
All right, 3 of our final 4 are set. Up next in the weird Oklahoma region game. We have Sam Keith against Joe Madura. Come on, Scott. You can't fucking you got to be fucking kidding me. If Liefeld doesn't advance to the Final 4, I don't think Sam Keith can advance to the Final 4. Which
I think this is where the Sam Keith ball club's weird style of play doesn't get them past the more talented opponent.
Yeah, like the average height of Sam Keith's team is like 6 foot, but the average height of Joe Mad's team is like 6'4". So they're just getting all the rebounds. They're doing the little things. They're boxing out. The little things you need to do. All right. This Final 4 is no joke. No joke. You got Mark Silvestri, the number 5 seed.
Who survived some close calls thus far.
Yeah. You got Joe Mad, the number 7 seed. We got a 6 and a 7 in the Final 4. We also got a number 2 in the Final 4 who could have been number 1, Jim Lee. And then we have Chris Bacalo, a number 13 seed.
Ooh. St. Peter's.
This tournament is fucking weird. Yeah, it's like Gonzaga before everyone knew Gonzaga. That's Chris Bacalo. I'm just going to call him Chris because I hate saying that because I was told
Except he's not all white.
Gonzaga's not all white anymore. Now they're perennial contenders. They diversified, All right, so our first matchup coming out of the left bracket is Mark Silvestri against Joe Mad. Let's take a minute here. What when you think about Mark Silvestri, what do you think about? Like what jumps out to me? It's his X-Men stuff. I never read much of his Top Cow stuff past Cyberforce. I never read Witchblade or The Darkness.
Yeah, that's what I see in my head.
Have you read Witchblade? Did you collect? No. But you were too young for his run on X-Men.
I see all the ads in Wizard magazine for Witchblade and Darkness.
Okay. Does the fact that all the other Image creators say he's the best of them, does that carry any weight with you? I mean, he did beat Todd, and Todd will say Mark Silvestri is the most talented of all of them.
Well, that group also includes Jim Valentino, so.
Oh, hey! Oh, this is a podcast where we love all creators equally.
I for a spell, had interest in Cyberforce as a book. And I will tell you that I didn't give a shit really about the story. I didn't read any of them. I just like looking at the books.
Mm-hmm.
So when I would decide which one I was going to pick up, I reached for the David Finch issues before the Mark Silvestri issues.
Well, this is just your age showing. It's not your fault.
So I got to throw my vote to the guy who is still an influence on me. I still reach for his X-Men issues. So I'm going to go Joe.
Yeah, I remember when I really liked Joe when he came on, and then as he started to really show his manga influences, which oddly enough, I was living in Japan at that time. I didn't like my manga. You know, I didn't want my peanut butter and my chocolate. I didn't want my manga and my American comics. And at first I was like, it's too much. But looking back on it now, it's just solid. Battle Chasers was kind of...
Did it ever go the other way?
Really great. Chocolate into your peanut butter?
Yeah. Were there ever any like Kurt Swan influences on manga?
I doubt it. But who knows? This is tough because... God, I love Mark Silvestri so much, but all right, I'll give it to you.
Oh,
I'll give it to you, especially because I think if you want to look at who's been influenced more over the last 20 years, so many people were influenced by Joe Mad, and not just Roger Cruz.
Yeah.
All right. The artist of the Gambit and Rogue
Current
saga.
artist of Robin, by the way.
Who? Roger Cruz?
Uh-huh.
Really? I did not know that.
I love him.
I don't get sent those emails. All right, so Joe Mad advances to the championship game. Next up, we got Jim Lee, the number 2 seed against the number 13 seed, Chris B. I think this is where Chris B's run ends. I gotta say the overwhelming weight of how much I love Jim Lee for most of my life.
Yeah, yeah,
it's tough.
Agreed.
Because I think there's part of it that I think Chris B might be the better artist if you just broke everything down to just basic fundamentals. Who might be the better artist?
I think as somebody that does it, if I'm going to sit down and pick apart something to figure out how it was done and to deconstruct it and look at the choices along the way, I would have a more interesting time looking at Chris's stuff. But I only do what I do because of Jim.
Yes, you've talked about that. The card set that got you into comics was the Jim Lee X-Men Series 3 or whatever the fuck it was.
2.
When they finally decided, like, we don't want...
X-Men. Yeah.
Oh, because for a while it was like the card sets had a bunch of different artists, and then someone at one point was wise enough to realize...
Marvel series did that. Art Adams did a whole set, though.
Oh, did he?
The 92 Marvel series.
Yeah, I have a bunch. I have a bunch of those cards, but I realize now, like, why did I get those? They didn't do anything. They didn't tell a story. They're just
cool as fuck.
Whatever. All right, so the championship match here under the bright lights at Madison Square Garden. We got Joe Madura against Jim Lee. Two guys that were, I mean, if you think about, when I think about comics and I think about my love for the X-Men, I mean, it went from like John Romita Jr. to Alan Davis to Mark Silvestri to Jim Lee to Joe Mad and then Andy Kubert thrown in there. So 6 guys over the course of like, and there's a lot of, I'm not a John Byrne guy, but some guys are. So you go back to John Byrne. That's like 20 something years of just the best artist in the industry at that time working on X-Men.
I mean, that was the point.
That's phenomenal. You don't see that shit anymore. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. So we got Battle Chasers against Wildcats because their X-Men stuff cancels each other out. Although I think Jim is a definitive X-Men guy. But then you got Battle Chasers. But then it's odd because both of the guys in the final game, they kind of expanded. Like Joe Mad went off and he's making video games. Jim Lee went off and he's running a company. You know, they're not very active anymore.
Yeah, this.
Are you thinking it's a slam dunk or it's difficult?
No, I don't think it's difficult.
Oh, okay.
I know, and they've been around not a dissimilar length of time. Maybe there's 10 years between them.
Yeah, maybe
25, 35 years between. You know, Jim's been doing it for, 10 years longer, maybe. So I don't know. I was going to make some analogy, like
no, not that long.
like
I think
Joe's the young guy, like he's the Suns last year.
Well, Joe, there's not that different. Like Jim came on with his Punisher stuff, maybe in the late 80s,
87, 88.
But then by 93, Joe Mad was on X-Men. That's only 5 years.
93.
Yeah, Image formed in 92.
I don't think that's correct.
This is the 30th anniversary of Image Comics this year.
96, maybe.
92.
For Joe on X-Men.
Oh, no, Joe was right after Jim.
95, maybe. No, he wasn't right after Jim.
Dude, okay, we can argue about this off air.
Oh, he came on to Uncanny following Junior, I think.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Joe Mad never drew X-Men adjectives.
Uncanny.
He only drew Uncanny.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. Either way, no more than, let's say, 8 years difference. But also, I think Joe Mad was doing that shit when he was like 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a savant. But the savant doesn't beat the master, I don't think.
No. Yeah. It feels like the new thing. Joe's the new thing.
Right.
But, it's not his time yet.
Right. Duke is going to beat Gonzaga 9 times out of 10. It's just not their time yet.
It's like the surprise team the young team that reaches the finals.
Right.
And everybody says, oh, they're playing with house money, but they're not ready to win.
Right. Yes. Wichita State is not beating North Carolina. James Aloysius Lee is our big winner. So did you think it was going to go that way? Like when you're talking about this, when you see these 16 names, did Jim Lee just jump out as the overall?
No, I hadn't thought about it, but it doesn't surprise me that it played out that way.
Yeah, I don't know why I seeded him 2. I think I just was giving respect to the Todd father because Jim doesn't have a nickname like that. So, that gives you a little bump.
I just call him the boss.
Yeah. That's when I get paid, I'm like, hey, the boss paid me.
That's right. He does sign the checks.
Yeah, when I'm at a con, I'll just walk by Jim and be like, hey, thanks for paying me the other day. It's good. Appreciate that. We're colleagues. We're the same now. You want to go get a Whataburger?
Ask him if he could leave early on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to go to happy hour with the guys? We're all going over to TGI Fridays, man. We're all we're all the same. We all get our checks signed by the same dude. You. If I got a physical check right now, I wouldn't know what to do with it. So there we go. That was the top 6. There's a lot of names that showed up, like ones and twosies that were just shocking. Like some of these lists were just like Billy Tucci was on like
Oh, I'm sure.
he almost made the top 16. Like
I'm
just
sure.
weird shit. Weird shit. Eric Larson showed up on more writers' lists than he showed up on artists' list. Disrespect to Eric Larson. Eric with a K. Yeah, this played out pretty much the way I thought it was going to play out. I'm shocked you chose Sam Keith over Joe Quesada. Quesada got no love, but I guess he's
my guy.
He's not putting us on a Wolverine book either, so we got to show love to the boss, right?
Not our boss.
Is Quesada still at Marvel? Like, is he still run Marvel?
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, so there we go. Jim Lee, big winner. Shocker. For TikTok, I learned I went to Anaheim last weekend as a fan, quote unquote fan, just walk around the show, and I realized I don't want to do that ever again. Like, I don't know. I mean, I did it in 1994, and I did it in 2020 to 2022, and I think I'm done.
Yeah, one time's enough.
Yeah. I was done we got there Thursday night. I was done with that trip by like Friday afternoon. I was like, I've seen everything.
I haven't been to a show and not tabled. Jesus Christ, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was fun. It was a fun weekend, like hanging out at night, and everything was fun. Smuggling my beers, being an outlaw, just drinking my beer, my backpack beer in the hotel lobby. That shit's fun. But I don't know if the juice was worth the squeeze. I don't know if I will do it again. My feet were fucked up for days. We're recording on Friday. I got back on Sunday. My legs just stopped hurting like 2 days ago. Like, it's just too much. Just too much.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's like the incomparable Danny Glover says. Just too old for that shit.
Yeah. The only way I would do it again is if I went out knowing I was going to drop a ton of money. Because if you're not willing to drop a bunch of money and you're there just to like shop and walk around, then it's like, I'm not a window shopper. That's no fun for me. So it's like, yeah, looking through like all these old portfolios and all this great original art was wonderful. But if I don't have thousands of dollars to drop on pages, then I'm just jerking my chain, as the kids say.
That's what they say.
Yep. So if I ever do it again, I'm walking in there with a couple $1,000s of money burning a hole in my pocket, and I don't ever see that being me. So I don't know if I would ever do it again, but I'm glad I went. I had fun. Shout out to Gonzo and Layman for a good weekend. What else? Oh, I did watch Our Flag Means Death, and it did to me what Ted Lasso did to me.
Yeah,
but it snuck up on me because the first couple episodes I was like, this ain't everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking so much great shit about this show.
I had no expectations about it. Whatever, I just came across it and put it on.
Yeah, but whereas Ted Lasso hooked me from the first fucking minute, Our Flag Means Death. It got all the way to the end, and then at the end of it, it was sneakily like, holy shit, I love this show. Like, it really got
the
me
lead's
in the
fantastic.
feels. Yeah, he's
so
just
sincere about everything.
Yeah, he looks just like Michael Caine in 1973. Shockingly, a lot like 1970s Michael Caine. But yeah, Taiti Watati.
Yep, that was it. You nailed it.
Watati. He really hit a home run on that too. Really pulls off the beard and the hair. God
looks
damn, the
good.
Beard and the hair. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, like I was shocked. Spoiler alert: when he shaved, I was like, oh no, please God, get this beard back as soon as possible. Like I lost my boner when he shaved. That's how upset I was. But yes, it was charming and wonderful and not too silly. Like, it stopped the silliness right before it became like a skit or too silly.
Yes.
It went right to the edge, but then it pulled it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
So we can just throw that into my Rex is what they could throw that into a rec. Everyone should watch Our Flag Means Death. fantastic. And then Moon Knight's on here. I guess I
Oh,
wrote
yeah.
this because I watched the pilot. I did not watch this week's.
You haven't watched
yet.
episode 2 yet?
No, but this is the episode I was excited for because I saw that they introduced the cool Moon Knight,
Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight. So I was excited to watch it. I just haven't found time.
Yeah, I remember watching the first one and thinking, this is fun. And watching the second one and thinking, this is fun? It's like I was trying to convince myself that it still was.
Yeah, the thing about the pilot or the first episode that still doing silly shit for silly shit's sake. And that's what I left the pilot thinking, like, they're doing something different. They're doing something different, which I appreciate. But then they also just have silly shit for silly shit's sake.
I all the music drops really bothered me in the first episode. They were so just on the nose. It felt like a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah. So I was on the fence about it after the first episode, but excited to watch the rest. And maybe I'll put that on once we wrap up this fantastic program. Maybe I'll watch the second one. Just because I think it's cool. Like, I follow. We've had Declan Shalvey on the show. I follow Deck on social media, and it's just cool that his version of that character is just on screen almost perfectly as he drew it. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, my kids are into it. Like, it's weird. The 9-year-old didn't give a shit about Loki or whatever it was, but he really digs Moon Knight.
Yeah,
so, go figure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a 9-year-old would get out of that.
Yeah. Well, he's a giant Ethan Hawke fan, so there's that.
Yeah, he probably got the F. Murray Abraham voiceovers, and he was like, "Oh shit, FMA's in here."
And it also helps that coincidentally, they're doing ancient Egypt in school right now.
Yes. So he's gonna come home and tell you all about Khonshu.
Right, and
Yeah.
then he goes to school and tells the teacher all about Mr. Knight.
Yeah. The Fist of Khonshu sounds like a sex act.
It is now, I'm sure.
Yeah. There's a game Japanese kids play, or maybe it's just Okinawan kids, I don't know, where they sneak up behind each other and they put their fingertips together and form like a axe blade with their fingers, and they hit each other in the taint. Sounds like a game. And like little kids play it. They sneak up behind their buddies and
Awful.
I forget they make a sound, and I can't remember what it is.
Oh,
but
God.
that reminds me of the fist of Khonshu when we get up. And then there's a couple of recs on here that I think you wrote, but we made this doc maybe a week ago, so I can't remember.
So it can't be.
Did we talk about these? We didn't talk about
Probably.
these last time.
I haven't updated the doc, so.
Oh, I don't remember you talking about a podcast named Scaredy Boy. Oh yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, where they talk about horror movies, right?
You listened to this
Doesn't
thing twice.
No, I don't edit them anymore. I cut off the nips and the bits, and then I just put it together.
All right. Yeah. No, I don't have any new recs this week.
I'm listening to an audio book. I'm not sure if I'm ready to recommend it yet, but I'll recommend part of it. So I'm listening to Neverwhere. It's a Neil Gaiman audio book, a Neil Gaiman book. I think from like the early 2000s. It's got urban fantasy. It's everything I need. Like there's weird shit happening underground. There's magic. It's kind of cool. But he narrates it himself. And I didn't know how much I needed Neil Gaiman's voice in my life until I listened to this audiobook. It is just silky smooth, British. Just I don't know what I anticipated. I guess I anticipated someone who's like gruff and shitty, like just kind of miserable, like a Roy Keane. Not Roy Keane, like a Roy Kent. But he's not a Roy Kent. He's like a beautiful angel with his voice. So I'm like a third of the way through the book. I think it'll be a recommendation next week. But his voice just does something for me. I listened to it on a 4-hour drive yesterday, and time just flew by. So shout out to Mr. Gaiman. If you never heard of him, he's written some comics too. If you never heard of him, mostly
Yeah.
in the Sandman universe.
1692, anyone?
I never read those. Did you read those?
No, I have the first issue. But I couldn't tell you what happened.
Is it like Victorian Avengers?
Yes.
Ah.
It's like a Marvel Elseworlds.
Oh, okay. Do you see that our bosses are putting out a book called Jurassic League, where the where the Justice League are dinosaurs?
That's awesome. It's a
Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. All they got to do is put a guitar on one of those Triceratops, and then it's totally Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah.
I'm in.
I think. Wait, I don't know. I was gonna say I thought Trish was coloring it, but I'm not quite sure. But yes, it's dinosaur men as leaguers.
I think that's like the DC movie universe. They don't feel like they're too precious about anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they're willing to do weird shit like the.
Oh, yeah. I saw the Batman. That's a thing.
Oh,
Saw
that's
that.
right. Yeah. I think I sent you a message about you being a shitty person or something after you posted your
Oh.
thoughts on it.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't look at
So
your stuff.
let me guess. It was different enough that you liked parts of it, but then it was also boring. So you want a more exciting, different comic book movie.
It was like a David Fincher
Yeah.
Batman movie without being good.
One of my thoughts on it that is a negative is that it was too much Fincher.
Yes. The problem is that that's all it was. That it didn't have a direction or a tone or an identity beyond wanting to look the way it did.
Yeah, like I was telling people if they hadn't seen it yet, is if you like your Batman with absolutely no joy, this is the movie for you. But the thing is, the whole movie was that there was not one character in there that's like that you can latch onto.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
And so I consciously
Khonshu is
that's right. Good catch. Watched it with that eye, and I counted one joke.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
It's not even a joke because, I mean, there's no setup. It's not a traditional joke. It's not like, it's not Abbott and Costello. But where Batman just says, you have a lot of cats.
Oh, yes.
And it's meant to get a laugh from the audience.
Right. But at that point,
that's
we're all so sad no one laughed.
And I checked my watch many times in the dark theater, and there was a long bit in the second act where much discussion and time is given to Falcone and Maroni, and every time somebody said one of those names, my eyes just rolled back into my head. I couldn't tell you anything about that subplot. I was checked out. I saw none of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it when I saw it, but I also left there being like, that might have been too depressing for me. Like,
It
that might have been
wasn't
too joyless
anything.
for me.
It wasn't anything. Like, for as long as it was, like, nothing happened.
Yeah, I think I was telling my sister-in-law or somebody, I think Pattinson might be my favorite Batman, but he might be my least favorite Bruce Wayne.
He wasn't anything. I didn't get a sense of his Batman as anything at all. They start and end the movie with Rorschach-like voiceovers, and you think it's going to be that, but it doesn't push itself in one direction or the other. It really does just feel like it's a movie that was made to look the way it was. And whatever happens just kind of happens or whatever, but it's important that it looks this way.
I can see that. I still enjoyed it. I'm not mad I went.
It wasn't. I mean, my biggest cinematic disappointment was Man of Steel. And this didn't quite reach that. Just because Snyder's going to Snyder.
Well, Matt Reeves is going to Matt Reeves.
I think there was just a general disinterest from the filmmaker in doing anything with Batman, whereas Snyder is. I would almost rather rewatch that stuff just because it's so interesting in its failure. You know, I don't even know how to put it. It was really disappointing. That climax just came out of nowhere and felt like a completely different movie. It was all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know why these I guess I know why, because everything's ego, but just take a best-selling graphic novel and adapt it and use that as your story. Like the way they got to combine different things, and yeah, like I hated the flood and all that. Like, all that's unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Like we just met this version of Gotham and we're already going to destroy it. Like, we haven't earned it, so you don't feel bad that Gotham's being flooded because you don't care about.
Yeah, that's the edge you walk. Right, that's the fine line you walk with something like this, where you can include Catwoman and Riddler and Penguin and whoever the fuck, because they are so ingrained in the public consciousness that we don't need an explanation anymore. So you can use whoever you want, however you want, whenever you want, and it's fine, but there has to be some context for why they are the way they are, and why you're using them the way they are. And, yeah, I didn't feel anything at all watching this movie.
You didn't buy the fact that just being an orphan would turn the Riddler into a psychopath? That was it. That was it, right? I don't even know if I can remember it correctly.
Yeah, he's the bizarro Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, like, it would have been more interesting had they really played up the one. So if you're going to have that storyline where you play up the 1% against the 99%, and you're going to talk about how Bruce Wayne is the problem because he's the 99%, he needs to be annoying ass rich Bruce Wayne, not I don't care Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, do something interesting with him. I don't need the aloof playboy again. You could have him be a fucking weirdo. That's fine. You know, just anything. Because what we got was nothing. So anything would have been better.
Yeah, I mean, they did pull off or they did at least focus on the fact that he's just angry and he wants to hurt things and whatever. Like, I got that vibe from him, which I get. I'm happy with. But yeah, he is one-dimensional.
They could have pushed that harder.
But he's still.
I really like Andy Serkis as an actor, like as a performer too, and there wasn't enough of him.
Yeah, he was surprisingly a good actor. But I guess I say that because we've only seen him as like Claw in the MCU, and he wasn't
he's great.
Yeah, he outacted Pattinson in that scene. He's weeping like a little baby. Your dad, your mom.
Yeah, I didn't follow any of that stuff. That somebody got somebody to kill somebody. Get out of here.
Yeah, give me the YouTube cut with 20 more minutes of the Batmobile scene. I was into that.
Yeah, the Batmobile was fire.
Yeah,
sexy as shit.
I love just the mode, like the Fast and Furious Batmobile. I'm in for that shit. All right.
But the rest of it, nah, forget it.
All right. Well, maybe we should change the name of this podcast and nothing makes us happy. I'm sure there's already that podcast. Two miserable fucks.
Hey,
All right.
just make good stuff.
It is a good movie. It's just not for us.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I don't know who it's for then. It's not
for-
for Marvel heads. There's not enough action. There's not enough humor. It's not for Snyder Bros.
I feel like it's genuinely or universally loved by the people in my social media circle.
Why though? Other
don't know.
than it's different.
You know, I don't ever show the names on this feed for anyone who watches the YouTube, but I just want to let everyone know Scott's name for this episode is Wizard's top 163rd artist. I think you're selling yourself short. I think you can break the 150.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
We'll take out Chris Marinon and we'll put you in. All right. Anything else?
No. I put on Fury Road last night before bed and ended up watching the whole thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What a perfect movie.
Yeah. So if you like the car chase and the Batman and you want a lot of that and a lot better, just watch Fury Road.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Should I either should I not sleep tonight? Get up at 4:30 a.m. to watch Everton get raped by Man United,
Whoa.
or just catch it on my DVR when I decide to wake
The
up.
latter.
But then I got to stay off my phone. See, the
So
problem
stay
with
off your phone.
watching European sports, man, is I got to stay off my phone, and I'm addicted to my phone.
Well, how much later are you going to watch it?
A couple hours. I'm not saying I got to stay off my phone all of Saturday. I'm just saying.
Don't worry about it then.
Yeah. But I have faith.
Who cares if it gets spoiled for you before you watch it? If they lose, then you don't need to watch it. But if they win, it'll be a great watch.
Right, but I like to be in the if we're gonna win, I want to experience it in real time. I don't want to be
I don't know
spoiled.
what to tell you then. I don't know why you're doing it to yourself at this point.
I Googled the other day, how do I watch a championship, a championship team? And the answer basically came down to you have to buy that team's package off their website.
Yeah, I watched a YouTube video on what would happen to Everton if they got relegated, and it wasn't good.
There's no plan for it because it hasn't happened since my dad was like 12. So,
Yeah.
no, since my dad was like 7 was the last time we played.
Like,
One league down.
Yeah, the Premier League jersey naming fee is like $10 million a year, and for championship it's like $850,000.
Oh, the whole team's going. There's
It's
no
going to
doubt.
get bad.
Yeah. But I have faith. We got 9 games. We got to
But fuck,
stay up.
I mean, West Ham just came back, right? They're in the top half, so
Yeah. We'll I have faith. We have too much talent on the field to go down. They just play like ass. Right.
I'm rooting for you.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise I'm just going to sit here and sigh for the next 10 minutes. So,
Yeah,
my friend,
got Brighton tomorrow, so hopefully we get back on the wagon.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, you should.
Brighton's
What?
shit.
I think I need you to. I think I need you guys to clobber Brighton by a fuckload of goals. So, good luck to the
Try.
Hammers. Yeah. Not the Hammers, the Gunners. I'm sorry. I'm so bummed now because we're talking about Everton, and I'm going to force myself to watch the second episode of Moon Knight.
It's not terrible. It's Oscar Isaac.
Well, I got half a bottle of Tisdale Moscato to drink. For all you wine aficionados, you're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ashley Tisdale's vineyard.
That's why I support it. I think she's a great creator. I think she does great work. Yeah. All right. Say something funny so I can end this podcast.
Something funny.